Alright, this is going to be a video to try and help some of you that are running into error messages like this. Some of your projects may have plugins that need to be recompiled, and that recompiling could be because that you have, like you had just installed your Windows machine and you're missing build dependencies and you're running into this. This error message is actually really unhelpful. It's saying to try and rebuild from source manually, and you've probably tried to do Google searches and people are like, oh yeah, just generate Visual Studio project files. But I mean, in my case, this isn't a C++ project. I'm just trying to open up a Blueprint project and it's saying that there's no source code to even try to do that. So I'm going to show you a start to finish guide on how to combat this error message and how to actually fix it and get this project to rebuild. So this video is also assuming that your current installation of Visual Studio is not in a good state, as the version that you're using with Unreal cannot compile the plugins or your projects successfully. So I would recommend uninstalling the version that you're using so we can start with a clean slate, as I think that will help fix this problem for you. I do, however, want to stress that if you have any custom dependencies and configurations and plugins for Visual Studio Code, that you make sure that you have those backed up and that you're not going to lose any type of work or custom workflows that you have. So please do be sure and back up any type of custom configurations you have before you uninstall of your Visual Studio. And with that, let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing that you're going to actually need to do is install Visual Studio, the Visual Studio, in my case, the 2022 Community Edition. I already have it downloaded, so go ahead and get the installer, download that, and then run the installer as you would normally to install anything. I'm on Windows 10 at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and close the error message. I'm going to start the installer. The installer will need to download some prerequisites, and then you'll get a window that looks like this. Now, there is an Epic Games webpage on documentation that shows different components that you need to check off, especially the Windows 10 SDK. However, there's some confusion on this page that I've noticed, because there's this Universal Windows Platform Development checkbox here that doesn't exist. So that has actually been renamed to the Windows Application Development. It's something that Epic Games needs to update on their documentation here. However, there's other things that here you can see. So I'll go ahead and tell you what you need to check off. In my case, this is being recorded in January 2025. So you're going to need the .NET desktop development, and you're going to need the desktop development for C++. That should be there. Get the Windows Application Development workload here, and then also check the game development with C++ here. That should check off these. You might get a Windows 11 SDK. If you're on Windows 10, I don't think it matters too much, but I would just pay attention to the box here, or the bulletin here of Windows 10 SDK 10.018.362 or newer. In my case, I'm just going to check off this Windows 10 SDK that has a build of 203.48.0. Then once you have all those checked off, go ahead and click install. It's going to need to download quite a bit of the components here, and then I'll go ahead and just fast forward through the video. The other thing that you'll need after this gets installed is that you'll need an Unreal project that is C++ related, and I'll show you how to get that after this is all installed. So be right back. Okay, so hopefully you got a cup of coffee or you got something for yourself. So at this point, everything should be installed and everything should be ready on the Visual Studio installer side. So you can go ahead and close that. Now, I would recommend you can go ahead and close the sign in the Visual Studio. For now, we can skip that. We don't need to open it at the moment. Now, what I would tell you to do is go ahead and start creating that C++ project example on the same version that your project that you're running into error messages, in my case 5.3. So I'm going to go ahead and open the Epic Games launcher, and then on the Unreal Engine I'm going to launch on the same version that I need. So in my case 5.3. So it's going to go ahead and start launching the Unreal Editor, but it should launch it into this pop-up into the project browser. Go ahead and click on games. You can do a blank install or first person. I'll just do a first person for fun, and then go ahead and click on C++ instead of Blueprint, and then click go ahead and put in a project name. You don't need the starter content, and you can set the preset to scalable to make it a little faster for you. And then I'm just going to just type in an example name of plugin compile, CPP, and then 53 for engine version 5.3. Go ahead and create that. It's gonna run through some steps. It'll generate the VS Code files, and it'll actually attempt to build them, but it might run into an error message here because we're still missing one critical component here that I'll show you how to install. We first need to help it get this project off the ground though, however. So it'll take a few moments on my machine, and here we go. It'll say project could not be compiled. Would you like to open it in Visual Studio? So go ahead and click on open with Visual Studio here, and then this prompt here, this is just the initial install. I didn't go through, so go ahead and pick your theme, skip signing into an account. You can sign into an account if you want. It's not necessary. There's going to be some initial prep work Visual Studio is going to need to do, and let me resize this window to bring it into focus. Now, before you click on anything in this window, be very vigilant and look for the Solution Explorer on the right. It might be in a different language for you, but this is actually a critical component that I've found that needs to be installed. So it says, based on your solution, you might need to install extra components for a full development experience. Now, go ahead and click on this install link, this little button here that says install. It's going to open up the Visual Studio installer again, and then in my case, it's going to say, hey, we need to install this build component. I believe this is the Microsoft Visual Studio Code, or Visual Code, like C++ redistributable installer. This is the key piece for me that was missing, because without this, the plugin still doesn't compile. It'll still run into error message. But once this is installed, your C++ projects will open correctly, and then your plugins will actually end up being compiled. Now, obviously, this is a pretty big download, so this might take a little bit for some of you. It's a half a gigabyte, so this is downloading relatively fast. But I'll just fast forward through this if it's gonna grind through it, and then get yourself a drink or whatever, watch a YouTube video, and then come right back. Okay, so looks like the installation has completed successfully. It's restarting the Microsoft Visual Studio in this case with the same project. This is the plugin compile C++ project I was installing, or I was trying to set up initially. So now it looks like everything opened without any issues. I'm just going to close this. This never completed its like workflow, what it expected, so it still thinks that the project didn't actually get created, but it did get created and it's already existing. So we don't actually need to open that C++ project anymore. All we really needed is for it to detect that type of solution, to find any type of missing build tools. So in my case, I have this is the original project that has the plugin that I need to get recompiled that was throwing the error. So now if you actually attempt to reopen this, it's going to ask, would you like to attempt to rebuild the plugin again? In this case, I'm going to say yes, to go ahead and attempt to rebuild it. Now, what's a little confusing is that I just closed like an old pop-up of it. That was, I think, the initial pop-up a while back, but right now there's nothing that's going on, but I can hear my computer actually like spinning up the fans and attempting to build some stuff. It would be nice if there was a bit more information on if it was actually rebuilding something. In my case, I can hear the fans spinning up considerably as like the CPU is building and compiling stuff. It sounds like. I can open up a task manager and actually see what's going on here. So, oh, there it goes. Okay, so in this case, it's actually already loading up the editor. It built the plugin successfully. Now it actually opened the project successfully, and it's ready to go. So I would just give your project some time. My system's pretty fast, so it built it really fast. In your case, you might just need to wait and just monitor the task manager and make sure that the Unreal Engine process is doing stuff, and just let it take its time. It probably helps to have an SSD and a pretty fast processor to speed that up. But in this case, like I was trying to get the Worldscape plugin installed. So in this case, I can see it here. It's loading up successfully. Let me dock this browser. Don't worry about that error message. It's not relevant to C++. In this case, yeah, here we go. So the plugin looks to be working okay. I can open the folders here, and I'll just load up an example world from that plugin. And loading. And this is the first time I've opened this level in this project, so it's taking some time. But in this case, yeah, this plugin's working again, and the error message is gone. And now in my case, the error message was happening because I reinstalled Windows. I got rid of all of my my Visual Studio build tools, and I just reinstalled them from scratch, and that fixed the error for me. So I hope this tutorial was helpful. Please like the video so this video can generate some traction and help other people. I'll try and post it in some other locations and to help other people. But yeah, hopefully this wasn't too hard and you found some use from it. But anyway, take it easy. Take care. Bye.